Welcome back to Marvel Maniac and MCU Aftershow. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. It's good to be back, and it's been about a week since I talked to you guys. And in that week, we got Hall H, San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel news. The Marvel panel happened this year. There was nothing last year at this point. That we were just going off of what we had 2 years ago, and we know how much that changed in time. And I believe what they announced is going to happen, but I think there's going to be a few more things in between some of the projects that they mentioned, especially after Doomsday. We'll talk about that in a second. And between Doomsday and Secret Wars, I think that I hope that they put some a little bit like some side stories in the battle world, if that's what they're doing, and have like some stories play out in between those two movies during that year. I don't know if they're gonna make us wait just a year, no Marvel stuff because of the situation they leave us in, or we get a Spider-Man movie between, and it's kind of like a tentpole movie between the two. I don't know. I personally think we need more movies leading up to Doctor Doom, and that is what I'm really here to talk to you about today. All the other news is fantastic. Get it? Fantastic Four. However, Deadpool and Wolverine, I can't stop raving over that. I think I want to talk about it again. I want to go see it again, talk about it again, because wow, that one action scene, you know what I'm talking about. That was special. Yeah, a lot of special moments in that movie, and it's a special week for Marvel fans. At San Diego Comic-Con, it was announced. First, I believe these are the next two Avengers films, Avengers Doomsday. And we get this really nice presentation of like a bunch of Doctor Doom standing on stage, and it's like, oh, cool. And they're going to like, oh, we need a really good actor. And guess who's directing? The Russo brothers of Infinity War, Endgame, Captain America, Civil War, and Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Sorry, I said those in reverse order. Anyway, Robert Downey Jr. is the Doctor Doom. He takes off his mask. He does the same exact thing that he does as Tony Stark when he's showing off the Jericho missile in Iron Man, the original Iron Man. He holds up his arms just like that to mirror that. That was not a mistake, in my opinion. And it's a hint towards something that I really want to talk about when it comes to this. The first thing that's coming to my mind, that's coming to a lot of big hardcore fans' mind, and it's something to argue over, is this going to be Robert Downey Jr. playing a new character, completely separate of Iron Man, just so happens he looks like him? Or is this an Iron Man variant that turns to Doctor Doom? And I've seen a lot of split, like people are pretty down the middle on this one. In my honest opinion, if they don't make this Doctor Doom variant a Tony Stark Doom, I don't care if, like, let's say his parents get assassinated when he's like a 1-year-old baby. And I know where Doom comes from is a very big place. He builds up kind of like a country of his own in the comic books. I don't know the comic books, so I just see the movies. So I only know from the hearsay. I'll see great videos like from Screen Crusher, New Rock Stars. They kind of help piece it together. It's good to hear like everyone's thoughts and opinions on this too. This last week, I know Colton Ogburn. Sorry for saying your name wrong. You're not hearing this, but I like that he's kind of like all in with what I'm about. It has to be RDJ variant, Tony Stark. Sorry, because you can't look at Robert Downey Jr. and not think Tony Stark. And I personally think the story will just be all around better, more dramatic. I want to see where he branched off in the timeline. Like I said, if it was like he was adopted as a baby to the Von Doom family and gets named Victor Von Doom, and that leads to him becoming the genius playboy philanthropist version of Doctor Doom, or he's just so in line with like this new character. But because if he gets taken away to the Doom family, I don't know much about this in the comics, but he's not going to be at all like the Iron Man we know. But even that would be okay because it's an explanation. I know, and I know. We had Chris Evans as the Human Torch, and spoiler for Deadpool. Skip ahead. Okay, I'm gonna say it. Chris Evans shows up in Deadpool in the Void, and who is he? He's not Captain America. He's Johnny Storm. So that's a strong argument coming from the side of fans who want the original Doctor Doom. They don't want a variant of Iron Man. They don't want another Iron Man. But this can still be Tony Stark and be so different than Iron Man, yet still be a Tony Stark variant. Why? Because that just makes more sense. It makes more sense. The Chris Evans thing. Him as the Human Torch, it was a retrospect thing. Like, he became Captain America after the Torch. There was no plans to do the multiverse yet. And if there was, it was probably, talked about for 5 minutes while they were planning the Avengers, Age of Ultron, all the other movies in the Infinity Saga, But now we got that cameo in Deadpool, so that makes it, that does not make it okay to not make it be Tony Stark, because that's something we can control. The story's still in motion. I've literally tweeted my opinion at the directors themselves at Marvel Studios. This has to be Tony Stark. Well, because let's be honest. What is this going to do to his legacy as Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., if this is a flop? If this sucks, if the fans don't like it, if it gets a bad taste in people's mouth. It seems everybody wants Kang now that he's gone. Everyone was all upset about Kang being gone now. For some reason, you know what? Because Kang's a cool character. We all learned to like Jonathan Majors. And his heart is broken. I saw on TMZ, he said, whose heart would it be broken? You're about to get a freaking multi-million-dollar film deal to play the next big bad in Marvel, and you screw it up. Well, you read a little bit further into it, and it was a little bit more of a back and forth. He didn't assault anyone. I don't know I don't know the story. I'm so lazy. I don't Google things. I just hear things. But I heard that it wasn't as bad what he did as we thought. He wasn't just like brutally abusing someone. It almost seemed like he was partially being abused. So down the road, I think they made the smart choice to not really bring this up. Maybe after Doomsday, we need a filler Avengers movie in the next saga. He can come back and do the Kang Dynasty. I don't know what they would have been doing during Secret Wars, so maybe they can make him a part of Secret Wars if they want. Right now, my gut though is really telling me they're not going to have him back. I just feel I feel it in the universe. I'd be really happy to be proven wrong. I would love to see a little more Kang and kind of get some of that Council of Kang action we had set up at the Ant-Man post-credit scene. That was definitely the Thanos scene, post-credit scene of the Avengers 2, the Kang Council. Like, those scenes reminded me of okay, this is a post-credit scene of the ultimate villain of this saga. And that's what they had planned going into it. And it really needs now the choice is to recast him, and it's really hard because we just saw the Council of Kings. They all look like him. And what really needs to happen is there needs to be someone to take Kang's place, and that will be Doctor Doom. I heard a theory, cool theory. I like this theory a lot, that it will be Iron Man. He will be Victor Von Doom, will have all his powers, magic, whatnot. But he will go around the multiverse enlisting a Dark Avengers, like Hydra Captain America. I don't know where I heard this. It was on Screen Crush or New Rockstars, or Everything Always. One of the three. All great YouTube channels for Marvel. If you haven't seen them, check them out. They're very good discussion. They bring up lots of great discussion. But it's going to be a Dark Avengers maybe, and we'll get an evil Hulk, evil Hawkeye, evil Widow. I don't know. I like that idea better than it just being Victor Von Doom, Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr. is a good enough actor to do it that way, if it's not Tony Stark. However, I just think it is, because Robert Downey Jr. left us some hints verbally and physically. And they weren't all that subtle, but, if you're wondering if it's going to be an Iron Man, Robert Downey, I keep saying Robert Downey Jr., so Tony Stark variant, if it is, I think some of the things he said make sense. Like the thing when he put his arms out and he took the mask off, they didn't have to do it that way. He's a smart man. He was doing the scene from Iron Man where the Jericho missile is fired behind him. Then he gets handed a mic. He says, maybe thank you or nothing much. Want to know what the main thing he says is? New mask, same task. It took me a second to think of it. New mask, same task. I don't know what your task is aside from maybe putting a suit of armor around the world. Iron Man would go extreme. Would go extreme in certain universes if certain things didn't go the way they did in the Infinity Saga. Iron Man's a loose cannon. He made Ultron. And a different version of Tony Stark out there who turns into a Victor Von Doom for whatever reason, completely explained, ideally. And what that does is kind of what George Lucas says in that infamous clip of him talking about the Star Wars saga. It's like poetry. They match, And it's yeah, if they go the route of him just being Victor Von Doom, I'll get on board with it. I know I will. I'm a freak for these movies. They're gonna be good movies. If they do that, it'll suck, but I'm not gonna let it ruin the movie for me. I'll say that now. However, the Russo brothers and RDJ and the writer of this movie, I think it's McFeely, not the other guy. I really have a hint they'll get the other guy. Christopher something and Stephen McFeely. I should know this. Anyway, they're getting the band back together to make two of the biggest Avengers movies of all time. We have one of the greatest actors of our time, Robert Downey Jr., who embodied Tony Stark. Embodied. And he did perfect. This man, if they want to do it that way, these guys got if anyone deserves a shot, it's them. It's them. It's the Russo brothers, and it's freaking Robert Downey Jr. because he's earned it. However, it feels doomed. It feels a little doomed if it's not a variant of I should just name this episode. If it's not a variant of Iron Man, this will suck. No, I think I'm gonna name the episode "New Mask, Same Task," and we're gonna be having more open episodes like this where we're kind of be talking about what happened in the world of Marvel instead of just movie coverage. We could talk about news in here too, sometimes similar to this. In the comics, Victor Von Doom and Mr. Fantastic, they're antagonists. So there's not a rumor, it's confirmed Galactus is going to be in the Fantastic Four First Steps, it's called. Okay? And that's exciting. And the other thing I heard about Galactus, right? And this makes a lot of sense now, is he exists in one universe. There's only one Galactus that maybe travels the multiverse when he's gobbled up an entire universe, or it's something along the lines of that. The universe that he's from is the Fantastic Four universe. I think they are all going to get eaten. And I think that Robert Downey Jr. will be in that movie. It might be promoted. It might be hidden. Because give us some surprises. Imagine if we didn't know Robert Downey Jr. was coming back as Doom and he just did that in the movie. Oh my God. You can't put that on him, man. That's too long to hide. And people would figure it out. It's hard to hide sets sometimes. That picture of Deadpool and Wolverine walking together in the void from a year ago. I can't get it out of my head. I never did. I really think this could work. This is a special thing. Will the story feel rushed if we're looking at less than 2 years away from Avengers Doomsday? That's not that long a time to set up a character like Doctor Doom. It's not a lot of time. So I really think he will be involved in one way or another, maybe the beginnings of his story into the Fantastic Four movie. And then I'd hope maybe one more movie, but I don't think he will. I think personally it's going to be they're going back to simple. What's simple, what works. So in phase 1, we had Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America. And Thor in his movie fought Loki. And Loki became the bigger threat of the world. So everyone had to team up and fight Loki. So it's gonna be similar, like poetry. uh, just in that, ideally, Fantastic Four is going to give us a lot of characterization for this guy, and when we get to the next Avengers movie, which is Doomsday, and even if we've only seen him once, that's character building. So it's not that long of a time, but they do have a shot and opportunity to make this work. And I really hope, God, I hope we see Doctor Doom RDJ start his story in Captain America, Brave New World. Is that what it's still called? I know there was some announcements over that. I saw Harrison Ford Hulk out. That made my day. I'm very excited for Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk. That's just going to be insane. The trailer for that movie is looking good. We get Isaiah Bradley back, and it's showing some of his extra superhuman abilities, superhuman strength. I think Sam. This is for another episode. But one last thing. I think Sam's going to be forced to take the serum, and it'll be because he needs to be able to defeat Hulk on his own. I personally think he's going to get a super soldier serum, and let's be real, that'll make me trust him a little bit more as Captain America. I don't know. I don't want him to go through pain. I don't want it to go wrong or anything. I think it'd be great if he got a little bit of a power up, especially if it's just him fighting Red Hulk. Give him a power up. His suit looks cool and all that. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit off topic. So there's a lot of information right now. There's a lot to process if you're a big Marvel fan. The Multiverse Saga doesn't feel as long as the Infinity Saga in years, but it is longer in content already. And that's crazy because, we're not even halfway through, supposedly. When we get through all of this, I think the saga will probably be a bit shorter than the time it took to put the Infinity Saga out. The Multiverse Saga has so much going on. It's a different beast. I guess we'll be able to look at that out down the line. And man, down the line, you're listening to this, but if you're from the future listening to this, and you know how it went over and how the movie is, I hope you had a good time, and I pray. Lie to me. Give me a sign that it's going to be good. Just lie to me. I'm going to be so upset if Marvel falls on its face. I don't want that. It's hard to admit, but Deadpool said it. Marvel's at a little bit of a low point right now. I'm sensitive about that. I'm not going to cry. But I freaking love Marvel. I love the movies. I believe in them, man. I believe in the Russo bros, but I really also believe in Kevin Feige. He really cares. And I'm all in still. I'm not going to give up on my MCU. They could fail, but they can also come back. And you know what? If that movie sucks by the time it's coming out, they're going to fucking push it up. They're going to push it back. And you know what? I don't care if they do. Do it 26, 28. I'm not in that. I would rather see you build up the character of Doom for another year than see you rush. But if you guys make it work, you make it work. I hope. I'm talking to you, Russos. But I don't know if I fully got around to this point I was trying to point. In Thor, we had Loki, and then Avengers was Loki, and it was a simple 1-2 hit. We didn't need a million movies to get to Loki as the main big bad. We got him long enough to actually see a redemption arc out of him. As hard as that may have been to think possible, I love what they did with Loki. So I think this might even be a way for RDJ to stay further. Maybe, Dr. Doom is an anti-hero, and maybe he has something to do with the multiverse going crazy, and who knows? Who knows? They have so much time. They sold RDJ on New Mask, Same Task. To me, that reminds me of, I want to put a suit of armor around the world. And this other Tony Stark, Dark Tony Stark, he puts on a different kind of armor and he becomes a different person. because something different happened to him. Like in the What If episode, which I heard is canceled now. What If? That makes me upset because I love that show. And we'll go back and talk about some of those season 2 episodes. The original character they made for that show is amazing, and that story, a lot of good stories in season 2. Sorry for getting off topic. I guess I got a lot on my chest. Why is Thor mourning Deadpool and crying for Deadpool? I do think and hope, like I said, that RDJ's Victor Von Doom will show up in the Fantastic Four, which is going to be in a different universe. We know that. Where Pedro Pascal is such a good actor. I hope he nails the role. I think scenes between him and RDJ could be very, very fun to watch. And not even just the fight scenes, the conversations. To me, the story has to be there too. And that's what I appreciate about the Russo brothers and co. They really care about the story. Thanos wasn't just, I'm bringing my big fist to punch you and take your stones, and I have no characterization. No, the characterization of Thanos, still my favorite villain, still almost my favorite character aside from the heroes, because I'm a fan of the heroes. I want them to beat him, but what a villain. What a villain. If anyone's got the chops, it's RDJ. I freaking believe in you. He is Iron Man, and he is Von Doom. And Von Doom is a how did he become that? Could he have not gotten out of the cave? Could it have taken him a longer time? And then he got tortured, or did this one have a different plan for the Infinity Stones when he snapped his finger? Or somebody else in his universe maybe Captain America was the one who got the gauntlet in his universe, and Captain America made the sacrifice play, leaving Tony to live. And we don't know what happened if Tony was around when the Celestials started showing up and all. You know what I mean? We don't know what would have become of Tony if he survived the Endgame. And it's not definitively sure that he turns bad guy if he doesn't make the sacrifice. But if him making the sacrifice is this absolute point in time, it must be a pretty unique universe for him to not make the sacrifice. So for whatever reason, however, Captain America gets the stones, gets the gauntlet, snaps, same outcome except for Tony lives. That I would like to see. That would be cool. Like if they took it from that point of the story. Personally, I think that'd be awesome. But they could really do it from any point within the MCU, or like the baby thing is like, it's something just to explain it, that he is Tony Stark under Victor Von Doom. He was born Tony Stark and becomes Victor Von Doom. Why? And if you want to ask me why am I so strong on this, it's because I don't want to recast. We just saw RDJ sacrifice himself for the multiverse, and the multiverse it's just not gonna make sense if you just keep making random decisions about what can and cannot happen in it. And if he can't become Victor Von Doom, what's the point? Because in the multiverse, there is one. But in the multiverse, there's a guy who's a twin. That's what people are trying to say to me. There's a twin Doom. And he has nothing to do with Iron Man, his heritage. He just happens to look like him. I don't buy it. Variants, there's different, like the Spider-Man, they all look different. But in Loki, most of his variants, there were other ones, look like him. So I want RDJ. RDJ has Iron Man. Tony Stark. I'm clearly dusting off the old podcast chops here today, folks. Thank you for bearing with me. I know there's been a lot of I can't stand that, and then when I hear it back, it makes me not want to do it. And I forgot to prep myself not to do it this episode. So you probably can make a compilation. Yeah. So what will Marvel do about the Kang situation? In my opinion, anything can happen. There is a possibility, some fans have pointed out, that we may or may not get a fight or destruction. Like a complete, Doctor Doom is going to come in and destroy that Council of Kangs, and there will be no more Kang. But also, it could be explained away in the show Loki. If you haven't seen that yet, I won't say much. Just watch it. It's very relevant in the MCU. Probably the most relevant show you could watch for the MCU to feel caught up with the movies and whatnot. Like if you watched Loki and then saw Deadpool, like there's some payoff, which is really cool. Which is really cool. It's something I say a lot too. Man, I bet I'm not even that bad. I'm very self-conscious sometimes, guys. But I'm not going to make this a cringe moment because I think we're all self-conscious at times. All right, it's cringe. But I'm going to leave it. This is true. My nickname is Mr. Honest, so I'm gonna be honest. And I'll pat myself on the back by saying that, right? Oh, he's so honest. He's just patting himself on the back. This is like me turning into Victor Von Honest. Now, we're in the bad timeline where I turned evil. I was supposed to make some sort of sacrifice play for this podcast. I just hadn't done it in a year. I love being back. Love being back. Yeah, so, I mean, you could sit on that for a while. I think we're sitting on that for a couple years. I hope that next year when Fantastic Four comes out, along with the Thunderbolts, and there's another movie in there. Thunderbolts. Captain America, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, all next year. We got Agatha all along, which I wasn't for at first, but I've changed my mind. I do think it might be a waste of storytelling. Like, why are we learning this story? But Agatha was a great character in WandaVision, and someone in Marvel wants it. Someone in that studio believes her story is worth telling, and that's kind of great. And I love anything Marvel, and I'm so excited for it. So hopefully we'll be talking about Agatha all along. I do want to do a couple episodes, maybe talking about some of the series I didn't talk about. I won't do an episode for each one, but we'll talk about Moon Knight one of these days and Miss Marvel, because I really like the Marvels. We got to talk about a lot. We got to catch up on a lot. And we have some downtime. It's been 6 months since we got the Marvels, and it's 6 months away. Now we got Deadpool and Wolverine. Now it's 6 months from that. February we get Captain America: Brave New World. Wow. So 6 months goes by fast for me. Sometimes it just you snap your fingers. It's as if Thanos snapped me. It's 6 months from now. So it's going to come fast, but it gives me as a podcaster some time to hopefully get back on course with weekly episodes and diving back in, doing unique episodes about news like this, RDJ coming back. You know, I think these kind of episodes I really get excited about. I've seen most of the Avengers movies and the movies in the Multiverse Saga. I've seen most of them, all of them. I've seen everything. There's nothing I've missed, but I haven't covered everything. So me going back and covering some of these things can be a lot of fun. I was covering like phase 2 in order, so I can go back and do the Guardians, maybe a whole episode on all 3 Guardians and that story, how it's intertwined with Infinity War and stuff. So there's a lot of cool things we can talk about. If you have any ideas, any topics, any feedback, you can email me at marvelmaniacpod@gmail.com. Strongly encourage the feedback, except one thing. Please make it positive feedback, because I am a sensitive person. And, I don't know. Being honest, of course. I don't take offense to criticism if it's warranted. If it's something I could fix. If it's something I can't fix, it's like I could hear you're fat through your voice. I'll be like, oh, no one's going to say that. That's me being mean to myself. My superpower is being mean to myself. I'm just kidding. Anyway, please let it be a Tony Stark variant. That's my stance right now. I think Marvel's in a great place. Deadpool and Wolverine just supercharged the MCU. That opening scene, I got it caught in my head. I want to talk more about Deadpool and Wolverine. I want to see that again. And how long has it been? I'm being honest. I only ever want to see like the Avengers movies again in theaters. I could wait for the other ones to come out on Disney Plus or whatever. But no, I want to see Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters again. It was that good. Wherever you're listening, give the show a rating. I would really appreciate it to be 5 stars and drop a positive comment. I had one guy to completely bomb. He was like, it kind of seems like you smoke weed and just press the record button. And yeah, I will not confirm or deny that, sir. I took too much offense to that personally, and I'm realizing that I'm always going to have people like that if I'm doing this. So, I take it with actually not a grain of salt, but if that guy feels that way, let me actually sit back and think how I can slowly fix that if that's the way I'm coming off. Personally, I think it's just my style. I talk all over the place, and most of the Marvel fans know most of the Marvel things happening, so it's kind of, I can't stick to one topic, but I can revolve around one topic where we keep coming back. And you know what? I'm having a blast talking about this, and it's been about a half hour. I think that's what's warranted for this episode. We talked about the reveal. We don't want to talk about it for another half hour, theorizing and overthinking what can happen. I just know if this were any other director, I'd be scared. But it's the Russo brothers. I have faith in them. They have never let us down. And not to say that they can't, but just have some faith in Marvel, because the people at the top really want us to enjoy these movies. It's just shown in the work. It's shown in the movies. I'm a Marvel stan, MCU stan. And I ordered a shirt today, more than just a fan. That's what it says. And each letter of this phrase is like a superhero theme, like Iron Man and Captain America. It's really cool. So if you want to contact us, marvelmaniacpod@gmail.com. Your comments may be featured on the show, and give us a rating wherever you're listening. It'd be fantastic for one of those thumbs ups. I'm not even kidding. Those do help. Marvel Maniac Pod on all your socials. I haven't posted on them in a decent amount, but if you say something, I will see it. I have it set up for notifications. I'm kind of lazy, / I procrastinate a lot. I was procrastinating this episode because I wasn't sure where I landed. I wasn't sure if I was upset or happy about RDJ. I'm so happy. I'm just nervous that they ruined Iron Man and what they did with Iron Man. And if anyone could do the job, it's these guys. All right. So thank you for being here. It's been another episode of Marvel Maniac and MCU Aftershow. This is Eric, your host, a.k.a. Mr. Honest. Expect to see a bit more of me throughout the rest of the year and so on. And if there's another break, I'll do my best to convey that to you guys and let you know if I'm going to be on a hiatus or anything. Likely, I'll always be coming back to this to talk and nerd out and be happy. Right now, my goal is to stay going and make more episodes by week, every week. A couple a week would be nice, but for now, a week. Just like I've been going on daily walks for 3 months, just a mile a day, because I don't want to wear myself out. I just want to exercise, and it gets a good sweat out. And this has nothing to do with Marvel. That's just me. Hopefully, my wacky personality and antics, along with the way I look at the MCU, I hope that stands out. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time. And until then, Avengers, disassemble.